Thank you. And I presume it's Minister Lynch is taking, is that correct? That's fine. I want to thank Minister Lynch for her presence. There is an issue, Minister, as you know quite well, with the issue of recruitment, but also with the issue of registration of nurses. And to be quite frank, Minister, it has to be changed quickly. Normally, the process should just take 90 days, but in effect, it can now, in some cases, take up to a year. And it's affecting all sectors of the health system, be it public or private, voluntary, nursing homes, acute hospitals, you name it. It's right across the board. We have, and you mentioned in your reply earlier, there are vacancies waiting to be filled, in particular in the nursing home sector and in our acute hospitals, which are becoming unfilled because of delays. And it's affecting the patient and the families and the delivery of service. And I contend, Cathaoirleach, that it shouldn't take beyond 90 days to have a process completed for a nurse to register with the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland. Senator Burke and I have raised it in the committee and in the Seanad, and we're bringing the NMBI into the committee before the recess, because this is a huge issue. It's a massive issue in the nursing home sector, and it's also having an impact in other acute services. Minister, I've raised the issue at the quarterly meeting of the committee, of which I chair, with the HSE, and it seems like little or no progress has been made since then. At the same time, I also brought up about the impact of the HSE recruiting nurses from nursing homes, and I was asked about the interaction with the Nursing and Midwifery Board to reduce the inordinate delays in registration. In response to my question, the HSE said to me, and I quote, "The main difficulty to expediting timely applications as reported by the NMBI is that part of the delay failure by the applicant and third parties to furnish the necessary documentation required to assess eligibility for registration and the overall volume." Unquote. What I will say, Minister, it's all too easy to blame the applicant. But I don't believe for 1 second that every applicant can take that much of a delay to what we're now experiencing and witnessing from people that I've met, from the private hospital, the nursing home, from the nursing organisations, and I just really can't comprehend. Is it a matter of administration? Do the NMBI have the proper resources and procedures to do the job? Because if it doesn't, then let's make sure that it does, because it's supposed to facilitate health services, not impede them. So I don't believe it's in anyone's interest to have the current situation continue. Delays in the registration of nurses are having a domino effect. As we heard from the Minister, in the hospital that we spoke about earlier, in Cork University Hospital, there are jobs waiting to be filled. And I'm told that they need to be filled quickly because of this, of the capacity issue in terms of vacancies, in terms of the effect of delivery of services. But it really means, Cathaoirleach, that nursing homes and other hospitals will not be able to provide services. And it's imperative that the Nursing and Midwifery Board progresses registrations as speedily as possible. Administrative procedures should be put in place, not to reduce capacity in our healthcare system. What is needed, in my opinion, is active engagement to deliver a solution that will solve the problem. And I acknowledge, and I conclude in this, that the Chief Executive of the NMBI, Dr. Maura Pidgeon, has agreed to come before our committee to address the issue. And I do hope that the Minister's reply will give us some further hope that we can expedite the situation, which is becoming problematic and is, I hate using the word crisis, but it is becoming a real crisis when hospitals can't get nurses because of a situation that we can ourselves address.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
I'll be very brief. Deputy Buttermore, I suppose it is fortunate that this topical issue comes on the foot of the one that's gone previously, because they are linked, significantly linked. I am not going to, Deputy Buttermore, read out the reply, because you have addressed most of the points that are in the reply, but there are issues in it answers in it that I think may be of interest. You know, the difficulty is that nurses who train outside of the country then have to register here. I think everyone agrees that that's the case, and it should be the case, and that their qualifications must be scrutinised in order to ensure public safety. We're all agreed on that. I think there are difficulties. The reply says that each and every application will be assessed within a maximum of 90 days. I think you've clearly pointed out that that's not the case, so I'm not going to reiterate that. But the things that in the reply that I think might be of interest to you is there are 2 remaining HSC adaptation courses available this year in June and August that are for people that have registered and do need adaptation courses. These courses are 6 to 12 weeks in duration and facilitate the integration of global nursing to nursing in an Irish context. It may be of interest to the Deputy to learn that since the nationally coordinated pilot adaptation programme commenced in June 2014, that is just a year ago, 151 candidates have completed the programme. 58 candidates are currently undergoing assessment and 126 candidates are due for assessment up to the final programme in August 2015. Outside of the current provision for placements in 2015, there are 293 requests for placement by employers, and a lot of this, as the Deputy rightly says, are in the nursing home sector and indeed in our own hospital. These numbers are not reflective of a national total, as some hospital sites have also run independent adaptation programmes. So, as you can see, there are a lot of people who wish to work in this country but simply haven't got the adaptation required in order to do it. But I do wish to advise Deputy Buttimer as well that the NMBI has been allocated additional resources to address the issues, and I think that having the Chairman or the CEO come before the committee is a very wise move, Deputy.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Buttimer.
Can I thank the Minister for her reply, and I'm glad she didn't read out the official reply, because the Minister is quite right. She knows herself, and I want to commend her, by the way, Cahill, for her engagement in the previous one and this one, because, and I'm going to stray for 1 second, Cahill, the Minister, to be fair, intervened in the CF issue in Cork University Hospital, and I want to commend her for that. She didn't have to, but she did, and she got her people together, and I want to praise her for that. And I hope she'll do the same in this, because in her reply, she's given common sense. Notwithstanding, Minister, that there are issues in terms of the completion of documentation, I accept that, but it's becoming too commonplace now for this to be trotted as an excuse. When I've met people from the private hospital sector, from the acute hospital sector, from the nursing home sector, I've met nurses themselves. Even today, I met a nurse, a ward sister in Cork University Hospital, who told me of the issue that she faced about people who were promoted in work and who couldn't have it done because of the whole process of registration. So we need to get a resolution to it. A lot of it's in our own hands, Cahill. The challenges in the healthcare sector, in some cases, we can solve easily. I contend this is one of them. It is about making sure that people are compliant and are registered properly, accept that. But, Minister, I just have a concern about the adaptation, in particular on the nursing homes. But I do hope that we can expedite this application process in a more timely way. I am acutely aware in terms of the issues that are there and the hurdles that have to be overcome. But if we're to really want to see Groundhog Day, then we will sit back and do nothing, and that's why the committee are bringing the Chief Executive in, not in any way to have an adversarial engagement, but to have a meaningful one whereby we can bring a resolution. Because this is one, Cahill, where we have a good news story in the health system where we're recruiting people. But because, in my opinion, of some type of bureaucracy and red tape, we can't recruit them and get them into jobs. And that's really what we must be about. So I hope that we can bring a resolution. And I thank the Minister for her common sense reply to me, and I want to praise her for her involvement in the process.
Thank you, Deputy. Last word.
Very, very, very briefly, Deputy, I always believe that when agencies work, I suppose, for the good, the common good, and I think we've lost the concept of that common good, then surely when we have a great need on one side and we have an issue of people prepared to work on the other side but barriers being put in place, there must be a flexible approach in order to ensure that we can in fact do things in a more timely and speedy manner. while still maintaining the element of public safety within all of this. But surely that sort of being able to build up in order to meet a demand, we must create that type of flexibility within our systems.